put human bones into the flour mill. Soon, the bones turned into a fine, flour-like powder. The old man waited until no one was watching. Then, he poured an entire bag of bones into the grinder, watching all the evidence turn to dust. He finally felt relieved. John used to be a retired teacher. He once lived happily with his wife, but to fulfill his son's dream, he borrowed $1.5 million in high-interest loans to send his son to college in the US. Yet, after graduation, his son abandoned them and settled in America. John was soon crushed by the debt. His pension wasn't even enough to cover the interest. He and his wife had to work tirelessly every day, while dealing with relentless debt collectors. One day, there was a knock at the door. John opened it and saw Johnny, the debt collector. He brought a woman with him. Before they could even sit down, John went inside and brought out the month's payment, but he was still $2,000 short. Johnny's face darkened instantly, but instead of using violence, he led the woman straight into the bedroom. Soon, suggestive noises filled the air. John knew exactly what was happening, but all he could do was curl up beside his wife, completely powerless. Minutes later, the two walked out, disheveled and smug. John looked at the messy bed. He knew Johnny was humiliating him on purpose, but debt must be repaid. John could only swallow his anger. One day, his wife fell ill. John rushed to the bank, withdrew his last bit of money, and planned to take her to the hospital. But before he could leave, Johnny, who had been tailing him, snatched it away. John was furious but dared not fight back. He could only glare at Johnny in hatred. But Johnny wasn't done humiliating him. He made John push his cart like a servant. John had no choice but to obey, or his home would never know peace again. Yet, despite his suffering, John remained kind. He still helped children who couldn't afford school. He even saved up to buy them cakes for their birthdays. But one day, Johnny barged into his home, determined to sell it to recover the debt. Without a home, John and his wife would be left on the streets. But Johnny didn't care. He insisted on selling it. Then, a little girl studying in the house caught Johnny's eye. He called her over, handed her some money for no reason. At that moment, John realized Johnny had set his sights on the girl. John wanted to go to the police for help, but the moment he stepped into the station, he saw Johnny chatting with the police chief. One look at the officer's eyes told John there was no hope here. That very night, Johnny broke into John's house. He used the house as leverage, forcing John to lure the little girl to him.